Comedia boys meso abo anogara akafurika nzeve dzavo dzinogara dzakavhurika zvese connected musharukwa kamba.
Right, 11 October 2023, and this is my second live broadcast of today, and this is going to be a very, very quick but important update on the developments at the National Social Security Authority, which is NASA. And NASA is where all the employees of Zimbabwe contribute their pensions. And what NASA does is it takes the money that is contributed by employees and then invests it in different ventures and also in different projects. And over the past few years, NASA, or the National Social Security Authority, which was founded by Mugabe, has made some very, very bad decisions. And we have covered it here, the court cases, the corruption, and all the issues that have happened at NASA. But the latest and most worrying development at NASA is that their bank, the NBS bank, that is 100% owned by NASA, is insolvent. And as I say, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has conducted an audit at NBS Bank, and they found that the bank has got no revenue. So the financial statements of the NBS were released last week. If you go to the independent newspaper, you're going to see them there. The bank is an embarrassment of a bank. And I want to show you some of the problems that they have. They are owned by NASA. They are into housing, National Building Society. They're supposed to be providing housing, but they don't have land banks. They don't have adequate land banks. If you look at their balance sheet, it's shocking how a company like that can have assets of about $500,000 after being capitalized. And if you look at the capital adequacy, I don't know how the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is calculating capital adequacy. Maybe they're using the official exchange rate. But this bank is not solid, it's not sound, and there needs to be significant changes here. And you'll be surprised to say, why did Gambakwa say this is ED's bank? Yes, this is ED's bank because his son, who is now the deputy minister, I think it's Kuda Mnangagwa, he was a non-executive director here a few years ago when he was only 26 years old. This is very significant. This is part of the mismanagement that is taking place here at NASA. This institution should be doing very, very well. It should be the biggest company in Southern Africa. It should be bigger than Old Mutual. But what they've done, like I explained last week, they've taken all the assets of NASA and they've sold them to Tagwire at a very, very low giveaway price. FML Asset Management, FML ZB Bank, CBZ Bank, they have done all these things to strip NASA of its key assets. And the end result is what we have here, where a company like the NBS, which is supposed to cater for the whole country, is building 120 houses on an arrangement. They can't even build a house. They have to wait for the person to build the house themselves. And they've got no US dollars in their balances. If you look at the balance sheet here, there's no US dollars. The cash that they have is insignificant. Like I said, the Reserve Bank has audited them and found that they're not solid, they're not sound, there's no revenue. And I don't know why they don't put in place some remediation measures. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe should put in place some remediation measures here. And what I would suggest first and foremost is kick them out of the NASA buildings. They must be out there fending for themselves. They should be owned by NASA, but they shouldn't be sitting in the NASA offices. They should have their own office somewhere out there. And if you want to make money in Zimbabwe, provide housing. They need to have a proper strategy. There is no strategy in that bank. The people who are running that bank, I don't know if they've got a banking background. I don't know if there's a treasury in that bank who know how to take money here, put it here, make money for the bank. The amount of revenue that you're seeing, why you're seeing such low revenue, is lack of understanding of banking. I used to work for Trust Bank, and the dealing room at Trust Bank, it had some of the sharpest minds in the whole world. The way those guys used to be able to raise cash, move cash around, the bank was liquid. This NBS bank is putting furniture on one of their lines in their income statement. And I can't believe it. This is not a real bank. The NASA needs to be serious here. They need to do a better job. And then obviously, as I said, they need to have a proper executive, proper people they're running this bank. This bank can do well. If you want to make money in Zimbabwe, I'm repeating this, provide housing, get proper housing banks. Do you know how much land is lying fallow at the growth points? At the growth points around Zimbabwe, there's massive land banks. They need to think differently. Don't think owning a house means owning a house at Harare. Go 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers from Harare. Buy land banks there. Make deals with the local authorities, the rural district councils. In Plumtree, all these kind of areas, there's no one using that land. It's just lying there. Build shopping malls and rent them out. Clean shopping malls. Build other kind of structures, offices, which you can rent out. Then you have revenue. You can't have revenue just waiting to get money from NASA and bank it and then withdraw it as a salary. That is not banking. And then obviously they must provide mortgages, US dollar mortgages. Do that. Make sure that people pay you fees in dollars. You build a house and say every month your mortgage is $500. Don't try to be this bank that provides houses for hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Low-cost core houses for soldiers, for police. That's the mandate of the NDS 1 that you're talking about. The mandate is not to do crazy things and build big mansions. Go low and everything will be done. You've got civil servants across the country who got free land from the government. Partner with them, generate revenue from these people that you already have in the system. This is how you make money, and people have got money to build their own homes. That's how they're able to pay rent. And then I don't even want to talk about the board. The board of NASA and the committees of the NBS and the committees, when I look at them here, I'm not impressed at all. I don't know what was the criteria in putting these people at the boards. And I don't know whether these people are able to run banks, a bank successfully, and what is the experience. I think this is a topic for another day, but let's look at Mutumbwa. S. Mutumbwa here is the chairman. Mtemachani, D. Mtemachani, B. Nyereyegona, PM Hamadziri P. Mashangu, Mahachi, Muchanga, I hope that's not Muchanga, Chapen Mate, and Takundwa. Those are the guys who are on this board, doing a very, very bad job of running this bank. They're sleeping on the job. The boards must bring these guys to account. When you are a board member, a board chairperson, your job is to deliver, to make sure that the executive does its job, not this thing that is happening where the Reserve Bank says you've got no revenue. What has the board been doing the whole year to be told that you've got no revenue by the Reserve Bank? You're waiting for an audit to manage. You're waiting for an audit to provide governance. You're waiting for an audit to provide with a strategy. That's weak management. And I think this is one of the biggest weaknesses that I've mentioned. President Mnangagwa and his government, they cannot fire people. No one is feeling the heat. Right now, if you go to the basement of NASA, you'll see someone driving a Benz from NBS. And the bank has got no revenue. Imagine that. You're driving a Benz and going home into a mansion in Borodo. And the assets of NBS are $500,000. $500,000. Do you know how much a CEO earns in South Africa? The CEO of a top 100 Johannesburg Stock Exchange company earns $5 million US. The whole revenue, the whole balance sheet of NBS, if you convert it from that 200 billion that they put in there, cannot match the salary of that Zimbabwean guy who is CEO here in South Africa. That is how bad it is. These guys must be ashamed of themselves. They are running down an organization that is supposed to provide housing to all Zimbabweans. So we have a very, very big problem at NASA, and NASA is everything. This is where everything starts. If NASA works, if they do well with the banks, if they stop stealing and corruption, and they start producing revenue and focus on their jobs, which is to provide housing, then we'll have a proper functional economy there in Zimbabwe. The problem is not just political. Their appointees are doing a very, very bad job, and everything is stopped right now in our country. And this is a problem. We need to fix it. NASA, we're going to be on top of this situation. I'm going to be reading every line, financial statement and in everything that we produce until we get this right. Right, let's go to Malon. NASA, how many times have I called you? The corruption at NASA is shocking. And now the incompetence at NBS. We need competence there, guys. I feel sorry for the young guys who have to work under such conditions, under such a board and under such management. Then Fabi says, you guys want Chamisa to work with people who have failed dismally. Obviously, they'll always oppose his suggestions. I've explained how Chamisa should work in a GNU. Have a look at it. Chamisa does not go to the GNU to accept Mnangagwa. He's going to GNU on his terms. It's part of a dialogue, but it doesn't mean he now has to say everything goes. He must make a big impact there. The guys in such boards as NASA, NBS, all these government institutions, they're just not at the level that we need as a country, and we need to fix this. And President Mnangagwa needs to understand the economy is everything. This politics every day. Sometimes I think, I ask myself, guys in the president's office, when they wake up every morning, do they think their job is to chase Chamisa around and say, Chamisa, we're chasing you this day from parliament. Chamisa, that's not your job. The proper jobs of a guys in the president's office is strategy and going beyond what an ordinary person can do. And right now, what we have in our highest level is people who don't have the capacity. You lack capacity to do the basic, the bare minimum. I was sitting with the guys there at the Zambia airport of President Hakainde Hichilema, the guys at the president's office. And I was quite impressed when I went there. I'm sure I won't be this impressed with the guys in our own president's office, because here is criminals. I'm showing you in the financial statements of NBS. Has anyone even read those statements, those financial statements from the president's office? Do they know that NDS1 cannot be delivered? There in that president's office, when you say NDS1, 2030, do you know that you can't deliver when you've got 120 houses only in a year? 1 year, you've delivered 120 houses. And then you say NDS. This is what I'm talking about. We need to be serious, and we need to deliver. This is not on. What is happening? Right, thank you very much, everybody. At the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, they conducted an audit at NBS, 100% owned by NASA, the bank that is supposed to deliver housing, and it does not have revenue. It's insolvent. Poor strategy, poor direction, poor board, everything 0 out of 10. This is where we are, and I hope that we see some action. We want to see some fire under these guys. We can complain about other things, but housing, it's so easy to sell a house. And I challenge these guys to come up with a core house for $200 a month for civil servants. You can do this, buy tracts and tracts of land, service them, build these small little houses with 1 room, and a toilet, and make sure that people have somewhere to sleep, and they own a home for $200 a month. This is possible, and you have a revenue, because it doesn't cost you $200 a month to build a house. It costs you nothing. Take it from me. If you say pay over 30 years, multiply 200 by 30 years, and you suddenly have a lot of money. But sitting there at the NBS, all you're thinking about is what time is lunch? Where is our Christmas party? This is the problem. I'm sure the guys at NBS now know where the Christmas party is, but that's not your mandate. Right. I think I've covered enough, and I've had a little bit of fun with you guys at NASA and NBS Bank. So do a better job next time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow when I look at Chamisa's dialogue call. Let's see what guys in ZANU-PF think. Let's see what guys in CCC think. We're entering a new era in Zimbabwe. Nelson Chamisa today is called for dialogue, and this is what we've all been waiting for. Good night, everybody, and we'll be back again very, very soon.
Kuno abo bano mama wanna get it nice. I know good I'm so I know good I'm